with the main chip Washington. It's real talk. Man, it's real talk with your main chip Washington. When it comes to information, the main got an arsenal. Bring you up to speed with what you need. He's a local and nationwide news feed. Let's talk about it. Dialect to do something about it. Chip got the flow wide open if you got questions about it. Man, it's the show that brings you to your raw. To solve all problems, it starts with real talk. Real talk. It's 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 real talk. Yeah. Welcome to Real Talk with your host, Chip Washington. It's real talk. It's real talk. It's real talk.
And for you survivors of Snowmageddon 2021, this is Real Talk with your host, Chip Washington, your humble host on this Monday at 6 p.m. Very happy that you have hopefully chosen to join us for a bit tonight. We have a very, very good show for you, and I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to have a tribute to someone very special to me at the end of the program. So if you can, stick around for that. So how's everybody doing? I hope you guys survived the Snowmageddon. Boy, you know, for the folks who complain yearly that we don't have winter here, that the snow goes north of us and south of us but never hits us, well, you got your wish. You wanted winter, you got more than you bargained for. More snow, more ice, more sleet, the whole 9 yards. And yeah, it was frigidly cold on top of that. That's sort of like the cherry on top of the weather cake. But things are defrosting now. Streets getting back to normal. Neighborhoods slowly getting back to normal as the sunshine has returned and the warmth has returned as well. I hope you are doing well. I hope that you were able to survive that. Many of us, I include me in that number, worked from home because of being able to, or actually not being able to traverse the roads for a few days. And now we are dealing with a boil water advisory. And no, it has not expired. And yes, it is still in effect until further notice, that as of late this afternoon from Memphis Light, Gas, and Water. So until they tell us that the water pressures are coming back stronger, that they fixed probably numerous water burst pipes and leaks all over the city and the county. That could take a few days. So we'll see what happens in terms of that. But in the meantime, if you can conserve water any way you can, try to do so. You can go to any website in the city, from the newspapers to all the TV stations. They are giving away water. The city is giving away cases of water each and every day. So you need to look and do your research and check out whoever it is you check out for your news to find out exactly where they're giving it out, what time they are giving it out, and the whole 9 yards. Before I go too much farther with this, I want to take note of a very grim milestone that we have seen in this country today. Over 500,000 people have died in some form or another of COVID-19. And that is a number that many of us thought unimaginable. And it's been just about a year since we got our first case of COVID-19. So I just want to just take a moment just to express my condolences and my sympathies to all of those folks out there, all of you out there who have in some form or fashion, in some way, been touched by this, by the loss of a loved one, a family friend, a colleague, or just, whoever it is that meant something to you in this life. I express my deepest and sincere condolences. And I had a moment of silence a bit earlier this afternoon, but know that you are always in my heart and you are always in my prayers. We have a lot to do tonight, so we're gonna step right into it and get our first caller. Actually, get our first guest on the line. He is Richard Greenwald, and he is the president and CEO of the Soulsville Foundation. That sound familiar? That's the group that runs the Stax Music Academy in town, and Richard has graciously allowed us to have a chat with him. We're trying to get him on the line right now, and he'll be with us in just a few minutes. But in the meantime, let me talk about one other thing that is impacting what happens in the future in terms of education. Shelby County Schools teachers were supposed to report to campus today, but because of the water pressure situation, that has not happened. And so they have had to obviously shift. The teachers were supposed to go back today to prep their classrooms, get them ready because kids were coming back next week. But apparently because of the water pressure situation, that did not occur. And so the kids are still supposed to, as of today, report back to class on March 1st, which is next Monday. Well, the teachers may or may not be able to get back into their classrooms to set them up. They may or may not have the water pressure stabilized in time to be able to do this. So as of this evening, there's a big question mark on whether or not that's going to happen. So we'll have to wait and see, what transpires in terms of that. So hang on just a second. I'm trying to see, do we have our guy? Okay. All right. So yeah, this is live radio, ladies and gentlemen. So, I know how to vamp my tail off here. So in terms of other news going on out here in the world, as I mentioned, we did talk about the water situation that is big time here. We talked about the snow that we had. We talked about the remnants of it. Once again, I just saw a headline that said, water issues will force downtown Shelby County government buildings to be closed once again tomorrow. So understand that the Shelby County administration will be closed. That's 160 North Main Street. And I'm sure probably before it's all said and done, the remainder of those county buildings that were closed today will be closed tomorrow as well. So, I mean, this water thing is a big situation that many of us are trying to figure out. MLGW has a major job on their hands. They fixed hundreds of leaks already, but there are many more out there. So as I said before, we're going to start the program. I have Richard Greenwald. Richard Greenwald, he is the president and CEO of the Soulsville Foundation, which runs the Stax Academy. And Richard, are you with us?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I have you loud and clear. And thank you so much for taking time out of your schedules to join me and my audience on the Real Talk Show tonight. Appreciate it.
Hey, Chip, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So, listen, all of us have been affected in one way or another in terms of the pandemic. And, I'm sure that applies to the Stax Foundation, Soulsville Foundation, and Stax Academy. But you have managed, if you would pardon the pun, to keep the music playing this past year. Just talk about, if you will, the challenges of keeping this operation up and going through this difficult time.
Yeah, well, that's true. We really have kept it going, and all the challenges are, of course, opportunities. Not to be too much of a cliche there, but we had an amazing staff that rallied and got organized as soon as COVID started to rear its head, and so we were surveying our kids who participate in our program. We were working with the Memphis Tourism and others to prepare for the museum, and we really got ahead of this work. And so it was really just kind of great leadership on our team. Our executive director of our music academy, our executive director of our school, and our executive director of our museum was really got in front of this. And I'm happy to talk further about the things we did.
Well, absolutely. Kind of let us know, some of the things that you had to kind of overcome in terms of being able to keep things up and operational.
Yeah, well, I'll say this. So the Soulsville Foundation is an umbrella organization, and we operate the Stax Museum of American Soul Music. We operate the Stax Music Academy, which is an after-school and summer program, and we operate the Soulsville Charter School. And so one of our goals this year was really to stay intact, and stay intact meant keeping the staff that we had. And so we've done our best not to furlough or lay anybody off this year, which we succeeded at. And partly that's done by really networking with the affinity groups in our community. So Arts Memphis was a great asset to us, as were some of the other cultural organizations, to help us understand some of the public financing that was out there to support organizations like ours.
Yeah.
We really got a tight budget. We reduced our hours in our museum. We went virtual. We learned how to deliver our programming virtually, and we've gotten really good at it. And we've set our museum and our music academy, and soon to be our school, up so they're safe buildings to come into. So we did all those things to prepare to get those places organized and safe for children and visitors to our museum and our music academies. We did those types of things, really pulled our budget strapped tight, and got organized and focused on the most important things this year.
Absolutely. We are speaking with Richard Greenwald. He is the president and CEO of the Soulsville Foundation, which, as he said earlier, is over the Stax Academy, the Music Academy, the whole 9 yards. Now, recently the Stax Academy got a couple of big boosts in the arm, but let me talk about the one that a lot of folks are talking about, with a certain award show that was done, and a certain mega music star that did a little bit of a guest appearance along with some of your students. Talk a little bit about JT, if you will.
Yeah, well, Justin Timberlake has really been a great ally of ours, and about a year and a half ago, he and the Levi's Foundation decided to really step in and work with our music academy specifically. And while he's supporting the whole Soulsville Foundation, he really targeted the next generation of artists, which is part of our mission, of course.
Right.
Promote the legacy of Stax, educate youth, and work with emerging artists. So we created a Justin Timberlake songwriting music lab with Levi's, which he helped outfit, and Levi's donated resources toward, and including instruments and all sorts of production equipment, so we could create a music lab with him. And ever since, he has been hugely supportive, inspiring our students and sticking with us. And more to come on Justin Timberlake, but he's really dedicated to helping us, particularly around songwriting and nurturing our students.
That's amazing.
So we had this relationship with Justin Timberlake, and we got a call on New Year's Eve, and from the Timberlake folks saying, "Hey, President Biden wants to have Justin Timberlake be a part of the inaugural celebration on January 20th, and Justin Timberlake is choosing Memphis, his hometown, as his location for the inaugural event, and he's choosing Soulsville and the Stax Museum as his location to perform." And so
wow!
I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah.
And he asked if our kids wanted to perform with them, and they did. And
yes.
He and Aunt Clemens came down. They sang the song "Better Days." They rehearsed with our students. It was a huge production. It was an amazing opportunity, particularly for our young kids who got to be a part of this special inauguration and got to perform with Justin Timberlake. And it was such a great platform for Memphis.
It absolutely was. You are 100% right. And so many millions and millions of people got a chance to witness that live that night. Talk, if you will, about a donation that you received that is going to help to educate our young folks musically for some years to come. Talk about that, if you will.
Yeah, so we have had a long-term relationship with a record company called Concord. They're based out of Los Angeles and Nashville and a few other places. And they actually own the Stax label and logo, et cetera. And so they have been really interested in our work, and they care very much, particularly about the Stax Music Academy.
Yeah.
We collaborate with them on certain things in our museum. So we are two separate organizations, but they made a commitment to us, a 5-year, $1 million pledge to us to support 100 students going through our music academy over the next 5 years. And they plan on doing more. They plan on doing more in kind work with us, like hosting some workshops with major artists, teaching our students not only about how to create music, but how to be in the industry, and how to be in, and how to protect themselves, and how to, what success really looks like. So they've been a great ally and partner, and we are thrilled to get that donation. We raise our money every year. We start over every single fiscal year, and it's hard for all nonprofits, and so we're so grateful for them for that. Yeah, I appreciate you bringing that up.
No, that's obviously a very, very big deal, in particular for the future of some of our youngsters out there who want a career in the music field. And to be able to have that type of funding behind you, you got to be very excited about that, and of course, looking toward the future as well.
We really are, and we just finished a new strategic vision for Soulsville, and that includes really digging into community and making a mark in Memphis. And so while we do get a lot of national and international attention, and we certainly bring a lot of tourists to Memphis, and we have a gift shop, and everything we sell in that gift shop we try to locally source here in Memphis. So we are an economic driver in Memphis. Mm-hmm. But we are very excited to be able to start looking to the future, and as we look back to the past of the amazing Stax legacy and the work we're doing now with our students in our music academy and in the museum and the school, we're very excited about the future and what we can do on that corridor on McLemore in South Memphis. And it's not just us over there. It's you've got the Slim House, you've got Lamona College, you've got One Family and the Rocks Climbing Gym. So there's a lot of things, positive things happening in Memphis, particularly in South Memphis, in Soulsville.
Well, I tell you what, we're very excited for you, and I'm very happy that we were able to connect and that you were able to kind of share what was going on down there. We don't hear as much as we would like to hear about Stax and Soulsville, but clearly things are going in the right direction, and I wish you nothing but greatest success in the future. And listen, Richard, you're welcome back on this show anytime that there's a special event or something coming up that showcase or anything that you would like us to talk about. You are welcome back on this show anytime.
Chip, I really appreciate that invitation. I appreciate this conversation, and really all you're doing to promote the music scene in Memphis. People have been so supportive of our work. They care so much about Soulsville and Stax, and you just epitomize that. So thank you so much for having me on your show tonight.
Well, listen, I appreciate it. And one more thing before I go. Jared J.B. Boyd told me to tell you hello. He said he's a friend, so I wanted to make sure I gave that shout out to him.
He's a great friend of ours, and we really love his work. And he's done a lot for the museum and the music academy, etc. So he's a great guy.
Yeah, he really.
Tell him I said hello.
I'm gonna do it. And Richard, thank you so much for calling. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Chip, have a great night, man.
You too, buddy. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
All right. Well, that was Richard Greenwald. And as I said, he is the president and CEO of the Soulsville Foundation, which is over the Stax Academy. Great conversation. And they're doing great things there. And I love to see our young folks doing the positive stuff and becoming, because they are our next leaders. And, I work at a radio station that's primarily a music station. So, we hope one day, Robbie and JB and them hope one day that these young folks cut something that they can play here for years to come. We're going to take our first break. When we come back, we are going to talk a little bit about politics with my friend, Mr. Ken Jobe, who is the press secretary for the Tennessee House Democratic Caucus. This is Real Talk. I'm Chip. You know who you are. Quick break. Right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest? or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
Support for WYXR comes from Crosstown Brewery. Now available, the Studio Session IPA, Raised by Sound, was brewed in collaboration with WYXR. A percentage of all sales benefit our station. For more information, visit crosstownbrewery.com. Support for WYXR comes from our partner, Spaces Group. Spaces Group is a commercial furniture dealership located in Memphis, Tennessee and Jackson, Mississippi, specializing in furniture for the corporate, healthcare, educational, government, and not-for-profit markets. For more information or to start your project, visit spacesgrp.com. Support for WYXR comes from our partner, Tamburino. Tamburino's staff of IT specialists help businesses develop a technology strategy that aligns with their business goals. For more information, visit tamburino.com.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk on this Monday at 6 p.m. Of course, you know, you can always find us right here on 91.7 WYXR. You can also find us on the TuneIn app. Just put in the call letters, WYXR. And, of course, you can, if you listen to us live, but you can also listen to us. They archive all the shows. So if you happen to miss this fine piece of radio broadcasting, you can actually go to their website, WYXR.org, and check us out as well. Very, very happy to be here. I love doing this show, in case you hadn't noticed. And I hope that, we do stuff around here that not only will inform and entertain you as well, but this particular guest of mine who is standing by is a man I have known for a long time, and he is one of the best people that I've ever known. He is a news executive of the highest stripe. This man has worked national news. He's been a news director in New York City and all over the country, and here in Memphis as well. And he is actually somebody I looked up to. And I say this every time I talk to him. One of my biggest broadcast television news regrets is not having had a chance to work under his tutelage. But in any event, we are friends, and I appreciate it. Mr. Ken Jobe is here. He's the press secretary for the Tennessee House Democratic Caucus. How are you, my friend?
Hey, Chip. How are you, buddy? I'm doing well.
I'm doing well, man. Thank you so much for taking some time. I know you're at the State House up there, and I know you guys are busy, so I'm not going to hold you, but I really appreciate you taking a few minutes of your busy schedule to visit with us. Wanted to ask you, first of all, for people who don't know, kind of explain your role as the press secretary for the Tennessee House Democratic Caucus and what that and what all that does.
Well, I mean, essentially what I do is I try to inform people of what the Democratic Caucus is up to, the House Democratic Caucus. That is send out press releases, set up press conferences, facilitate meetings. I try to keep the media informed and involved about when bills that we have that we think will be of interest are coming up, and when bills that the other side has that we think people will want to know about and perhaps rally support against are coming up.
So basically, this job is really kind of all encompassing, and you have to keep a lot of folks informed in terms of what's going on up there legislatively. And I know the session has not been too long started, but as from your view, as the press secretary for the House Democratic Caucus. How do you see things so far? What does the landscape in Nashville look like in terms of the House legislative body so far, in your view?
Well, I mean, certainly, we're in a super minority. We have 26 members, and there are 99 seats. So you can see that we are, it is difficult for us to, block some of the things that they have, but we put up a good fight.
Mm-hmm.
And also, we try to get a lot of good things accomplished for our local constituents. The vast majority of our members come from Memphis and Nashville.
Right.
We have one from Chattanooga and two from Knoxville and one from the Brownsville, Jackson area.
Okay.
Outside of that, the entire rest of the state is very red, which makes it an uphill battle to try to get some of our initiatives across. But, that's not going to stop us from trying to get, some people to realize what we're doing up here and hopefully translate that into a few more seats at some point.
Do you think that that we're at a landscape now, of course, with the recent national election and some of the changes around the country, that perhaps maybe things might change now? I'm not naive, and I understand that this state has been red forever, and it probably will continue to be red on the majority side. But do you have a sense that perhaps there could be greater inroad down the road in terms of the legislative body from the Democratic side?
Well, let me first say that this state is extremely red, but it hasn't been for a long time. I mean, when you and I were in news, this was a very blue house.
That's true.
Ed Ray McWhorter was running it and was governor, and Democrats had a lot of power here.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things changed starting, a few years ago when we started losing seats, and I'm sure a lot of people can understand some of the reasoning behind some of that.
Yeah.
Part of it was as well that the state income tax that Democrats tried to push through many years ago now. We lost a lot of seats during that time. I wasn't in the state at that point, but that did cost us some seats. Now, it's certain, this is a very red state now.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee didn't even go for Al Gore.
That's
when
true.
He ran for president.
That's true. That's very true. That's right. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
If you look at the last few years, when Joe Biden ran for president and when Hillary ran for president, Nashville, Memphis, and Brownsville, Tennessee, the only counties that went Democratic. That's three of them.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
So, and particularly, two of them are one thing that does help. Two of them are the largest cities, and in a lot of ways, the economic engines of the state.
Yeah.
But the rest of the state really doesn't seem to care much about that.
Well, yeah, that's true as well. We are speaking with Ken Jobe. He is the press secretary of the Tennessee House Democratic Caucus. And Ken, I'm gonna shift gears here, and I'm gonna take you back to a very familiar part of your history, which is news and leading news operations, not only nationally but locally here as well. So, because of what you do as a press secretary, you're still dealing very heavily with news operations and things like that. Do you have a take on the direction of news, the focus of news operations today? I know you do. You're a very big study of the business because you were in it for such a long time. And can you compare and contrast from the good old days to the new days now in terms of the presentation of news and how things are done these days?
Well, certainly. I got out about 6 years ago.
Right.
And when I left, social media was just becoming a force. It was nowhere near what it is today. I think that, there's no doubt that the advent of social media as a source of information for millions of Americans has changed news completely. There are many people who get what they think is news from social media, and that's what they believe, which is very different from the time that you and I were growing up, when there were 3 news operations.
Yes,
and people trusted them, and they believed them. And and most news operations now are still very straightforward and straight down the middle, but they get lumped. They've gotten lumped in now in a lot of people's minds with social media, and they can't really distinguish between the two anymore. And then what helps blur the lines is that, even some of the legitimate news media, I mean, you take, for example, I worked for Fox for 11 years.
right.
Fox News was, a very legitimate operation, but you couldn't distinguish the news content from that talk show trash that they run on the network at night, and that blurs it all together.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't even know that they actually really had a real news operation. They think those people, that were on the talk shows like Hannity and Dobbs and all those guys were news anchors, and they aren't. And MSNBC is pretty much the same way. For the other side, I might add,
yeah,
they do all their talk shows at night that are completely,
liberal
oriented,
liberal versus conservative. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and people hear those talk shows and they watch those talk shows and they believe that those are news because they are on quote unquote 24-hour news channels. So the lines have become really blurred.
I was going to ask you. So has social media really? I mean, they've taken a big whack out of this, and because of the lifestyle that many of us live, which is always hurry, get there, gotta go. They get their news from their mobile devices and other things like that. I mean, that has really changed kind of the way we process things. Does it not? In your mind?
Well, sure, and it people, when we were in television, people would criticize television as being a sound bite medium. Although, we did a lot of very good long form pieces when I was in television. Yeah. 60 Minutes is still a very successful broadcast. But now with social media, there really is no time for anything. I mean, people don't stop and read long stories anymore. Yeah. It's just not the way that it works anymore. And, they look at the headline that they see on social media and they might read the first 3 or 4 lines. And many people believe that they are informed after that.
Yeah, that's and that's honestly, I'm old school and I like long form stories. Today it's you have to tell a story beginning, middle, and end in 1 minute and 20 seconds, which is like that's the standard news operation these days, which you really don't get any information out of. So I'm still a big fan of 60 Minutes and long form news stories, and that's what I used to enjoy about watching when you were running Fox, because you would take time to actually explain what a story is all about. And you had some really good people there who could really tell stories. You miss those days?
I do. And, the one other thing that I might say that has changed is, people don't quite have the perspective on issues that they used to have.
Explain that. Ken.
Because, okay, let me because when in the days when you were watching a newscast, there may be something on that if you were thumbing through your social media pages, you would never click on.
Okay.
But if it was on a newscast, you had to watch it or at least sit through it. And while you watched it, you may have learned something about something that you thought you may not have any interest in.
Sure.
But once you actually saw the story, you said, wow, I can't believe that's going on.
Yeah.
You don't have that opportunity now because, people they won't click on those types of stories.
No, you're right. No, you're right.
You know,
You're exactly right. It's different. It's way different.
I mean,
It
I really believe, you look recently, I mean, how many people in this state now would have clicked on stories, say, about apartheid in South Africa?
Yeah, that's true.
But once they were learning about the story during the news, people could say, wow, really? That's still going on?
Yeah. Yeah.
But do we really think that the people in Tennessee, by and large, in these red counties would click on that story now?
Yeah,
I don't think it would happen.
Don't think so. Listen, we've been spending some time with Mr. Ken Jobe. I'm proud to call him a friend. He is the press secretary of the Tennessee House Democratic Caucus. Ken, thank you so much for taking some time. I know you're busy. I know the House is in session now, but thank you for taking some time out of your schedule to visit with us tonight. I really appreciate it.
I'm glad to do it. You feel free. I'll come back anytime you want.
I'm going to take you up on that, my friend. I guarantee you. Take good care, man. Thank you for calling. I appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
All right, take care.
Bye.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ken Jobe talked to us a lot about news and the ever-changing face of news. We're going to take another break. And when we come back, we are going to talk about how you, as a possible or potential business entrepreneur, can help to get your business off the ground with a particular group and organization that we're going to talk about. That's next. This is Real Talk. I'm Chip. We will be right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
Support for WYXR comes from our partner, Spaces Group. Spaces Group is a commercial furniture dealership located in Memphis, Tennessee and Jackson, Mississippi, specializing in furniture for the corporate, healthcare, educational, government, and not-for-profit markets. For more information or to start your project, visit spacesgrp.com. Support for WYXR comes from Crosstown Brewery. Now available, the Studio Session IPA, Raised by Sound, was brewed in collaboration with WYXR. A percentage of all sales benefit our station. For more information, visit crosstownbrewery.com.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
Welcome back to the broadcast. This is Real Talk, just in case you're tuning in. I am your humble host, Chip Washington. Very happy to have you with us on this evening. And before the break, I talked about those of you out there who are entrepreneurs who may want an opportunity to be able to take those dreams and turn them into realities. Well, there is one organization that might be able to help you do that. And with me now on the line is Jessica Taveau. She is the interim CEO of Epicenter Memphis. And Jessica, are you there?
I'm here. Hey, Chip.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you doing? I have to say, I also am a big fan of long-form journalism. So it was
good for you.
fun
Yeah,
to hear you
you
talk
and I
about
both.
that.
That's right. You and I are both the old broadcast folks, the journalism
That's right.
folks, yeah, communications folks. Well, listen, Jessica.
That's right.
First of all, very, very happy to have you on the show. Really appreciate it. And,
Thanks so much for having me.
Well, and you know, I told you earlier when we talked, I saw a story that Channel 3 did, an excellent story about your organization. But for those of us who don't really know about Epicenter, can you give us sort of a rundown of your organization and how you help our community?
Absolutely. So we're an entrepreneurial hub organization, which just means that we're doing everything we can to make sure that all entrepreneurs in Memphis and Shelby County have what they need to start and grow businesses.
Okay.
We were an idea of the Greater Memphis Chamber Chairman Circle back in 2014. And we launched as a full nonprofit in 2017. So we've been operating fully for about 4 years.
Okay.
And those kinds of resources, we call it our ecosystem, which is kind of a fancy word of sort of a big network of resources around the region. And we're looking at things like, do entrepreneurs have enough capital resources or the money it takes to start or grow business? And that's going to look different for different kinds of companies and different ages of companies.
Sure.
Do they have access to mentors and experts? So the talent pool, is that accessible? Do they have access to customers, revenue through customer contracts? And then really just building out the whole network of culture and connection and things like policy advocacy, really, we wake up every day and think about local entrepreneurs, but we don't if I can just say, we don't do that by ourselves. We have an entire network of partners here locally and regionally that help us do that are also providers to entrepreneurs and small businesses, and we collaborate with them every day. So.
That's a lot. And you say that you've been here 4 years, but I guess I would be remiss if I didn't ask, is the demand for people who come to you with ideas or business plans or however that works to want to be the next entrepreneurs here in Memphis? I mean, are there a lot of folks out there who are trying to fulfill that dream?
Absolutely. I mean, we have engaged more than 1,000 people over the last, since 2015 who either have a business, are trying to grow a business, or maybe just have an idea. Yeah. So, Memphis is an entrepreneurial community, and we've even seen, we work with all kinds of businesses. So folks from, who have sort of traditional place-based businesses like restaurants, barbershops, florists, all the way to tech-based startups. So we define entrepreneurship in a really broad way in Memphis. Yeah. We've even seen people come to us recently, which is not unusual in a crisis situation, that are wanting to start businesses now, even in a pandemic. So,
is that right?
The demand is always there, and again, that's why we work with so many partners. But I think what we try to do is make sure that those resources are accessible, equitable, and make sure people know about them. So.
We are speaking with Jessica Taveau. She is the interim CEO of Epicenter Memphis, and really enjoying this conversation. You've helped a lot of people, and we saw a few of those in that piece that Channel 3 did about your organization out here. If people wanted to understand more about what it is you could do as an organization rather to help them out, how do they do that?
Sure. The best place for them to go is our website. It's epicentermemphis.org, EPICENTER Memphis.org. We do have a link there that says find support, and that puts you in touch with our staff. If you fill out a little bit of information, we can get a sense for where you are in your journey. Maybe you have an idea that you've been thinking about, or maybe you have an existing business, and our staff can help you either connect to an Epicenter resource or connect you to one of our partners. We also have a phone number. It's 901-500-6368.
Okay.
And you can certainly call that as well. But we're here to help. But that's really the best way to connect with us, because we can get you, our goal is to get you to those resources faster than you maybe would on your own. So that's the best way. Connectivity
really is how things get done, isn't it? Here, and especially here in Memphis and in Shelby County, connectivity, being able to connect, as you just said, connect with other people, or connect people with other people in organizations that can help them to grow. Am I correct in that?
Absolutely. And I mean, I'm so glad you brought that up because I really don't think it's like that in every other market.
No, it's not.
One of the things that we really do have a collaborative ecosystem. One of the things that we found last summer and spring when COVID was just taking off is we were able to pull together a group of economic development agencies who we work with already, who we work all together, and we were able to share resources and information about funding opportunities and relief packages. We were even able to cross-refer entrepreneurs to each other. So you had companies who maybe were able to, get assistance from several different agencies.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I think Memphis, the economic development and entrepreneurial community is very connected.
Yes.
And I think we all have that desire to really highlight the entrepreneurs that are already doing good work and just, again, try to get, add value to their businesses and connect them to resources more quickly and make sure those resources are equitable and accessible.
Jessica Taveau, thank you so much for sharing your information about Epicenter, and I hope that folks paying attention, if they didn't get it live, they can come back to the radio station and website, and we tape all our shows, so they'll be able to get the information. But Jessica, thank you so much for taking time. I really appreciate it.
Chip, thank you so much for having me. Thanks for all you're doing for Memphis. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Well, that was a very, very good conversation with Jessica Taveau from Epicenter, and they are helping to build dreams and make dreams come true. I'm going to go to a quick break here, and when I come back, I'm going to pay tribute to a great man. We'll have that on the other side. This is Real Talk. I'm Chip Washington. Hope you come back with us. Quick break, right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
Are you interested in sponsoring the show and want to support WYXR at the same time? To find out how, email us at sponsorships@wyxr.org.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk. I'm Chip Washington, and as we prepare to wrap this show up, I just wanted to take a minute, if I could, to pay tribute to someone who was not only a great preacher, a great teacher, but he was a great man. My pastor, Walter Peggs Sr., passed away went to glory on February 12th. And they had his homegoing this past weekend at our church, which is a Full View Missionary Baptist Church in Bartlett. And I just wanted to play. The last time he actually was on the show was in December, and it was a fluke because the guest that I had scheduled canceled on me at the very last minute. So God led me to my pastor. And I was just very thankful that he picked up the phone. And we had a chat for a few minutes. And at the end, he prayed for us. I am having a difficult time grasping the fact that he's no longer here. But I know he's in heaven, and I know he is one happy man. So if you will indulge me, I wanted to play the last interview that we did December 7th with senior pastor, Full View Missionary Baptist Church, Walter Peggs. And welcome back to the show. You know, as in life, things happen from time to time, and they're a little bit unpredictable. Well, I was supposed to have Bill Dries on for this last segment to talk about this, that, and the other, but he, as a capable and dutiful reporter that he is at the county commission meeting, and he said they were debating and they were preparing to vote on something. So he had to beg out literally when I called him at the last minute. But, you know, these things happen, and I appreciate his efforts, and we'll try to get him back on the show at another time. But I'm very pleased to have my fill-in, my pinch hitter, so to speak. He is the senior pastor of Full View Missionary Baptist Church in Bartlett, Tennessee. He is my pastor, Senior Pastor Walter Peggs. Pastor, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Kurt.
Thank you so much for filling in. I really appreciate it. I know you're busy and tied up too. So, first of all, Pastor, how are you feeling? How is First Lady feeling?
We're doing well. We're recovering well.
You say recovering, and I guess that leads me to tell the audience that you and First Lady did test positive for COVID. And can you kind of share some of the symptoms that you both had?
Well, my symptoms were just a light cough,
Mm-hmm.
and then all of a sudden I just lost my energy. I mean, I just had no energy at all,
Mm-hmm.
and little upset stomach. But that was basically it. That cough and that loss of energy.
Yeah.
When you walk upstairs, you have to sit down and rest. Just something I wasn't used to.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If anybody who knows you're always going. Every time I see you, you flying from one end of the sanctuary to the other.
It took me out of the game. I tell you that.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad, as all of us are. Congregants are glad that you're on the mend and you're feeling better. First Lady doing okay too?
She's doing better than I am. She's doing better than I am.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Pastor Peggs, we've seen unprecedented times, and you have obviously had to shift the way you do things, as the head of a pretty good sized church congregation.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us how the adjustment has been for you, how you have how COVID has basically changed the way we do things these days.
Yeah, and we're blessed at Full View to have a good mixture of deacons and trustees to form what we call a COVID emergency team.
Mm-hmm.
And we pull in that our sound engineer, our security people, trustees and deacons and health ministry, and try to do what's best for the church in as normal way as possible to keep the church operating.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we've had to make some changes in the way we do worship and the way we do Bible study and Sunday school. But then again, we are blessed because the deacons and the trustees had already implemented a media ministry and a media concept, and already employed someone in the person of Pam McLaughlin to oversee that.
Mm-hmm.
So when the virus hit, we already had the means to do the streaming and the Zooming and all that.
We're speaking with Pastor Walter Peggs from Full View Missionary Baptist Church, and Pastor, when you preach to us, because we see you via mobile, every Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
and during these times, which for many people have been pretty dark. I mean, we're talking about unemployment. We're talking about, how do you people, how you put the food on the table, how people are being able to pay their bills and what's next for so many people. What goes into the words that you want to say and the message that you want to translate to people on a weekly basis?
Well, really, the first thing I try to get people to see is they have to trust God. You really have to trust God
Mm-hmm.
in a time like this. And you have to understand that just because you're saved does not exempt you from what's happening around you.
Mm-hmm.
But God uses what's happening to you to make it a ministry to others. And so the message that I try to preach is that you have to stay focused on God and let Him take care of all the other things. You do what you can do, but you stay focused on God. And with this virus situation, we did everything we could to be safe. We isolated ourselves from certain conditions. We wore our masks. We did all those things we're supposed to do. It only took 1 second for the virus to get into our atmosphere.
Now that point right there is really one that I want you to emphasize on just a little bit, if you don't mind, kind of elaborate on that. It's like you can do, and I'll be honest with you, Pastor, you know, my household has been safe and from this virus, thank the Lord, it really has. But it doesn't take much. I mean, you know, people are getting infected, like, I mean, the numbers that are just through the roof. And it really doesn't take much. Can we overprotect ourselves? I mean, I don't even, at this point in time, I don't even know. Being honest.
Well, it's like driving a car. You do your defensive driving. You try to control your car, but you have no control of what other people do.
Well, that's very true.
And this virus is like that. You do all you can, and other people do all they can, but they have no control over what other people that they may come in contact with do. The person that infected us had just left a funeral, had no idea that he had been exposed at the funeral until he came down with the symptoms later on in the week. And then when he called us, he said, you know, you're the only person we've talked to since we left the funeral. Then we went and got tested. We tested positive. Wow.
So, you know, one of the biggest issues, and I've spoken to other pastors, you know, about this as well, is, you know, the concept of being a church family. And these days, being a church family means a separate family. How difficult is it for the congregants and even you not to be able to, you know, to reach out to when you preach to see a full sea of congregants, you know, praising God? I mean, how difficult in the adjustment process has it been for you? Now, you make it look flawless, but but there still has to be a sense of something in terms of that.
Well, I just say when I get up that I'm preaching to God, other people are just bystanders.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense.
I want to make sure that what I do pleases Him. And so I'm preaching to Him, even though He doesn't need to be preached to. I'm preaching for Him.
Yeah.
And His people will hear.
Yeah.
God does an amazing thing with a sermon. His people will always get something from the message in spite of the preaching.
Well, that's very, very true. Pastor, I know I caught you off guard with this, and I thank you so very much for filling in this last segment. I just want a favor, if I might. Can you pray us out? I'm always up for a good prayer, and I got a couple of minutes here, and I would just ask if you would just say a prayer for all of us, if you would, for a moment.
Yes. Father God, we're so grateful for the relationship that we have with you and for the love and the mercy that you have extended toward us, even in the midst of all the pandemic and the crisis and the confusion and the rhetoric that's filling our airways. We know that you're still in charge, and so we trust you. We ask that you would strengthen our faith in you, that you would give us that unction of the Holy Spirit that would allow us to continue to hear you when you speak and allow us to live a life that pleases you. We pray today for our leaders, our elected officials, and those who have the responsibility of making decisions concerning our welfare, that they would hear you speak, that you would speak to their hearts in such a way that they are inclined to do that which pleases you and will bring glory and honor to your name, in spite of themselves, that you would still get the glory and honor that is done in your name. We pray for this virus. We don't know where it came from. We don't know what the purpose of it is, but we know that you are in control, Father. We pray that as you stayed the death angel at the threshing floor for David, that you be merciful unto us, unto your people all over the world, and that you would stay this disease, and that in your staying of this disease, that your name would see the glory and honor, and those who are called by your name would do that which will bring glory to you. Thank you for Chip and the program, for the information that he gives to others. We pray for our listeners wherever they are, whatever situation they're in, that you will meet their need according to your word. And we pray, Father, that those who don't know you will come to know you and depart of their sins. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen. And God bless you.
Nobody does it better. Pastor Peggs, thank you so much. I really appreciate you.
Okay, Chip, I'm glad I answered the phone. I almost didn't answer the phone.
Well, I'm glad you did too. Hey, you guys, you take good care of yourself, okay? I'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
All right.
Keep praying for me.
Thank you. I will. All right.